Greetings and salutations, comic book conversationalists from all across the fruited plain, from border to border, coast to coast, and all points in between. Man, it's been a long time since I've said that. This is Comic Book Hangover. My name is Scott, and here we go with a slightly smaller stack of books this week. A nice mix of stuff, too. We got some facsimile editions. I've got some conclusions and some continuations and some good stuff, some Marvel, DC, everything in there. So let's just get into it. Of course, like, comment, subscribe, yada, yada, yada. Here we go. First on top of the stack is the concluding issue of Godzilla. I'm sorry, it's supposed to be Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, but I'm going to say Godzilla versus Justice League versus Kong because, you know, it's Godzilla. This was the only cover that I found that really had Godzilla on it. It seems like they're focusing on Mecha Godzilla and Kong in this issue or on these covers. So I got this one. There he is. There's Godzilla right there. I'm a Godzilla guy, so naturally I got to go with the Godzilla covers. We got Mecha Godzilla here. Concluding the whole series was a pretty interesting ending. Sort of basic for a sort of a what am I trying to say? It was sort of a basic ending for a mega crossover event like this, where you have all your action and all your drama and all your intrigue, and at the end, the last issue, they got to sort of bring you down a little bit and put all the pieces back in the right spots, make sure all the toys are in the right toy box, and then we wrap everything up. So that's kind of what they did here. Great ending. I mean, the story overall was amazing. I absolutely loved it. The Superman versus Godzilla thing was so much fun. But wrapping it up, Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, number 7 of 7. That's the cover I picked up. This is the Dan Mora cover. So good cover. Moving on from the Energon universe. Actually got 2 Energon universe books this week. It's kind of cool. Void Rivals, number 9. So Void Rivals, I think, is going to be the first of these books to reach double digits. It's kind of cool. I like that. But we got Springer in here. So Springer shows up a couple of weeks ago. I had him up on my wall. So there's a Springer poster right there. It's still a great series. I'm really kind of wondering when we're going to start tying this series in more with the rest of the Energon universe, with the Transformers and with G.I. Joe. They're kind of starting more in this because you've got a connection between, you know, the main characters in here and the Quintessons. Springer shows up. We know Jetfire was in the series, so it's kind of slowly falling into place. This out of all of the Energon universe books, this one definitely is more story based. It's more focused on characterization. I think a lot of that is because these are basically new characters here. With the Transformers and with the G.I. Joe, it's just, we know who the characters are, the basic versions of these characters, the Transformers and the G.I. Joe characters, and all they need to do is just kind of put a cool little spin on it, and they can hit the ground running. This one is a bit of a disadvantage because all new characters, but it's coming together nicely. I'm enjoying Void Rivals. I'm enjoying all of the Energon Universe titles. Moving on, the other Energon Universe title I have is Cobra Commander number 5. I grabbed the main cover. I like this one. There was another one they had. It was a close-up of Cobra Commander's faceplate with Destro sort of reflected into it. It looked cool in the picture, but to me personally, it just didn't grab me when I was at my LCS. So I went with this one. I love this cover. It really does show, you know, this version of Cobra Commander, and just his desire for power and his willingness to do almost anything at all to collect that power. Really cool thing in this one is actually, see if I can show you real quick. For fans of the Transformers series, post movie, so we're talking like season 3, there was an episode called Almost Human that had a character in it called Old Snake, which clearly and obviously was Cobra Commander. This was, of course, post all the G.I. Joe stuff. But when you see Old Snake, Cobra Commander, that is what he's wearing. So we have another nod to the classic cartoons in the Energon universe. And I like how they're doing that. I like how they're tying in, you know, all these different things. So that was pretty cool. But there you go. Cobra Commander number 5 of 5. this wraps up this miniseries. It's a great. It's awesome because it's a conclusion to this miniseries, but we know the story continues. So I'm assuming, all right, and if this is how they do it, I'm gonna love this format, where they partway through the series they brought in Destro, just like in Duke. They sort of snuck in a little bit of Scarlet, but she really didn't show up until the very, very last issue. But I like how they're, if they're going to do it this way, where they introduce the next character who gets the miniseries in the current running show. They start off as sort of like a background character and then slowly move forward, and then boom, they hit the ground running with their miniseries, because that's kind of what they're doing here. Destro was just sort of there, and then he becomes more of a forefront character. In this issue here, he becomes a co-character. You see the first meeting of Cobra Commander and Destro, and sort of the formation of Cobra in this issue. So the next miniseries, which is starts next month in June, for Cobra is going to be Destro, and then for a G.I. Joe is going to be Scarlet. And I'm very much looking forward to both of those. They're going to be great. Moving on, we have Elvira meets H.P. Lovecraft, number 4. I'm assuming that, like the other ones, this is going to be a 5-issue miniseries. And I still haven't read this one yet. Honestly, I don't even remember if I read issue 4. This is probably my least favorite of the Elvira miniseries. I think it's mainly just because I don't really have that much of an attachment to H.P. Lovecraft. I can take him or leave him. I don't really have really much of an interest in any of the Lovecraft stuff. I have the utmost respect for what it's done and its impact in the horror industry and storytelling and horror storytelling in general. But it's doesn't really do anything for me. But still a great cover. Speaking of great covers, I do have also the photo variant. I still got to get the photo variant for the first issue of this series, but I got the photo variant for this one. Great. It's Elvira. You got to love it. Another one I haven't had a chance to read yet because it's busy. We're got a lot of stuff going on with the house and with school's wrapping up. I'll talk about that in a minute. But I grabbed Crisis on Infinite Earths number 2 of 12. Continuing the reprinting of the Maxi series, Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is going to be my first time reading through this thing. There's a lot of these great old stories that I haven't read through. When I was younger, there was just certain books that I stuck with, and I just paid no attention to anything else. So now that I'm a little bit older, a little bit wiser, and maybe a little bit more grizzled, and really don't care for a lot of what Marvel and DC are doing now, I'm going back and I'm happily reading these older stories. A lot of the reference I probably won't get, but I'm still enjoying the stories nonetheless. A lot of fun. So Crisis on Infinite Earths, number 2 of 12. Also did not get a chance to read this one. Didn't get the cover I wanted, but you know what? I still got the book. At the end of the day, that's what matters. I have the story, and I can read the story, and that is really what matters most to me. And this is Symbiote Spider-Man 2099, number 3 of 5. It's I think this is the main cover. It has the border that back in the 90s, they would put that on the first issues of the 2099 books. And there was always some like foil gimmick or something like that. But there you go. You have Symbiote Spider-Man 2099 facing off against Venom 2099. So good stuff there. I love that. Another facsimile edition is Military Comics number 1, which I believe is the first appearance of that new comic sensation, Black Hawk. So there you go. This is from August, whatever year this came out. I love these old books, but I do want to go through this, as I always do with DC facsimile editions. They keep the covers as is. They don't really do anything at all with the covers. What you want to do is take a look at the backs of them. Backs are going to be the same, but down here at the bottom, you'll have the Modern Era DC logo, and then you'll have the UPC box right there. Older books, they usually didn't put the UPC on the front. So you're going to have the Modern Era UPC box here. Always going to be thin, always going to hug the bottom. DC tends to put theirs really always on the bottom. I don't think I've really seen them on the side here. I think it's because with the back cover, there's all that stuff up there. Really the only dead space that can be filled is right here. So there you go. That's what you're going to look for. You also want to look at the price. This was not originally a $6.99 comic book. There's no way. I mean, that'd be like nowadays spending like $30 on a Fantastic Four comic, and I hope most people would not do that. So that is it. Actually, those are all the books that I picked up this week. It's kind of a small week compared to the last week. Next week is looking like a even smaller week. So if they're I guess it kind of depends on what books come out next week and if I pick up anything extra. But there is a small chance that I'm not going to have a video next week. If I only get like 2 or 3 books, I'm not going to do a video for that. I'll hold those over until the following week. But as it stands now, I think I'm getting maybe 4 books. I think 4, maybe 5. One of them is going to be a variant cover. So be that as it may, we'll see what happens. If I don't do a video, I'll do a post here on YouTube and let you know. As far as cover of the week goes, I got to go with the Cobra Commander number 5 of 5. A great cover, really shows that this version of Cobra Commander is not as spineless and sniveling as the 80s era, which is still one of my favorite cartoon villains. I love the original Cobra Commander, but I really am enjoying this version of Cobra Commander a whole lot. I mean, he is so just cold and calculating, and the Chris Latta voice of the original Cobra Commander really fits with this version of the Commander. So great cover there, showing the Commander here with commanding his legions of Cobra, and so much fun. Great miniseries, wrapping it up for Cobra Commander, getting ready for Destro. But that was so much fun. I really like that. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys. So poster this week is Spider-Man number 1 poster. Kind of, I don't know. I was looking through my posters. I probably have like at least 10 more that I got to put up. So we've got a long time before any of these posters get repeated. So anyway, there we go. That's all I got. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Hope everybody had a great new comic book day. This is what I got. There's a lot of great titles that come out every week from some amazing creators. I know for those of you who like to order ahead, the August solicitations for DC and Marvel have been released. And of course, Marvel's big thing is the relaunch of the Uncanny X-Men and the entire X-Men franchise. Looks like they're bringing back some classic logos. I love seeing the old school logos, Uncanny X-Men and X Factor and X Force and all those. I'm probably not going to get into any of them because Uncanny I would probably get into, but they've got Gail Simone writing it, and she's not somebody that I like to follow or support, so I won't be getting that. But I'm very curious to see how that book does, as well as all the other X-Men books. So if you like to order ahead, now's your chance. You can go ahead and put in some pre-orders. Probably a good idea. For August coming out. We got no school this weekend. We don't go back until Tuesday because of the Memorial Day holiday. Then we got 7 days left with my young fives. So next Friday, next Friday is actually their last Friday as young fives. Their next time they're in school on Friday, they're going to be kindergartners. And it's been an amazing year. It's had some ups and had some downs, but it's been really great seeing these kids progress. There's 1 or 2 of them in there in that class that have been so frustrated with spelling their name and forming their letters and this sort of stuff. And this week I took them back. It's like, here's the way you used to do it when you first came in. You couldn't even make an S, and now through this whole year, look what you're doing. You're writing your name and just showing them, being able to show them that yes, they have made progress, and just seeing the look of just the pride that comes on their face, and just the pride you see in their eyes. It's just amazing. What I do want to say is, now that I never realized this until I became sort of a teacher's assistant. Not sort of, I am a teacher's assistant. Teachers go through a lot in school. We put up with a lot. It's not just reading, writing, and arithmetic. It's not just the 3 R's, but we deal with a lot of behaviors. I mean, this year alone, I've been spit on. I've had a chair thrown at me. Actually, 2 chairs thrown at me. I've been bitten twice. Been kicked a few times. Hit. It's because some of these kids, they have issues, whatever it is, and they lash out because that's all they know. So it's not an easy thing to do. So what I would like to say, and this is just me, just some ass on YouTube talking about comic books. And I'll talk about something that has nothing to do with comics. But as we near the end of the school year, show your kids' teachers some appreciation. Just write them a thank you note. Just put a note in your kid's backpack. If your kid has a folder or whatever that they hand into their teacher every day, put in just a thank you note. I get those from my young fives. I get them from the parents of my young fives, and it really helps. It really shows that, yeah, even though we put up with a lot of stuff and get a lot of abuse throughout the years, there's still that reward of not only showing these kids and taking them to the next level, getting them ready for the next level, and seeing their progress and showing them their progress, so they have that pride that pride in themselves, and they're proud of themselves. But it's nice to know that parents also appreciate what teachers do for their kids, because it is a lot of hard work. It really is. It's exhausting. It's draining. It's draining and exhausting emotionally and physically, but it is very rewarding. I gotta say, out of all the jobs that I've had and all the things that I've done in my life, this has been the most rewarding. So that said, I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks everybody for checking this out. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you next week with another weekly haul video. See ya.